Hi, guys. Welcome to Own Your Essence, the podcast where healing meets empowerment. I'm your host, April DeMille, a psychic medium and a life coach specializing in grief, trauma, and toxic relationship recovery. This is a space for deep conversations, powerful transformations, and raw healing. Each week, we'll dive into soul centered topics like psychic mediumship, the supernatural, metaphysical wisdom, emotional grief, addiction, mental health, spiritual wellness, and self discovery. Through inspiring interviews and personal insights, this podcast is here to spread awareness, spark connection, and support your healing journey. If you're ready to set boundaries, reclaim your confidence, and step into your true power, you're in the right place. Let's own your essence together. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Own Your Essence podcast, where we get to have deep transformational conversations with some of our favorite people. I am your host, April DeMille, and today I am joined by one of my friends. She's a friend and a colleague, Miss Stephanie Webb. Drum roll, drum roll, drum roll. There she is. Oh, you're muted. I can't hear you.
Oh, I haven't said anything yet.
Oh, okay, that's why.
No, because
That's why.
it did take off the video and the mute, but then it's like,
Okay.
whoa, what's happening?
Okay. So Stephanie, I was just telling them that so let me just give a little context to our listeners. Stephanie was here on episode 7, and that's when we got to do the actual guest interview. So if you guys want to refamiliarize yourself with Stephanie and all the cool stuff she's doing, definitely go back and listen to episode 7. But for today, Stephanie's just here as my friend and my colleague, my fellow podcaster, and we're just actually here to shoot the shit and powwow about a couple things that have come up for us that we thought were interested interesting discussions, like you said, healing being linear, and I wanted to put a spin on that with the dating life. So
Yes. We have a lot to talk about with
we have
that.
some
There's so
territory
many.
to cover for
It's
sure.
funny when you ask me what topics, I'm like, well, I could talk about, I think mostly anything, not as a not as an expert, but like relatable life stuff. I can talk about those things.
I'm an expert at not being an expert.
Yeah, I know a lot of stuff, but from like just picking up things here or there or just life experience. But
Yeah.
I'm not the person that studied and knows this and this and this, and I could never be because I don't remember. And people will talk about they'll quote stuff all the time. I never remember quotes. I'm just like, dude, I don't know, but I know the concepts. You know what I
Fucking
mean? That's
dude,
how
I
I
don't know.
remember. That's why I
That's
wasn't very
funny.
good at philosophy. And people are like, "What's your favorite quote?" Who like blah, I don't know. I don't
You're
have
like,
one.
pick one. I'll go with that. That's funny. So,
Uh,
speaking of this, healing isn't linear. This was such a great topic. And when you said it to me, I remember I was like, I don't know. I feel like we kind of talk about this sometimes a lot, but maybe not, because it brought something up in me that I was able to share with you in the moment. And I was like, yeah, maybe that is a good topic. So we decided to like move into that one for sure. And I was going to ask you, what does that mean to you? Like healing isn't linear. What is that? What exactly does that mean for you?
it means that there's constantly we're constantly healing and learning, and there is no end. And I think for many of us, for me, I was always that person. When I get there, I'll be happy.
Yeah.
When I get there, oh, everything will be wonderful and I won't have any problems and blah, blah, blah. And I do hear this from people
Yeah.
because we do have that kind of, we want that.
I have
Um,
arrived.
I've arrived. And also,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, like April, in a lot of the coaching, entrepreneurial, spiritual guru spaces,
Hmm.
there are these people, and this is kind of why it came to my mind. I've seen a lot of comments like, I've healed, so I can help you with that. And I'm like, okay, cool, but I don't know if we're actually ever really fully like we're not perfect. We're never going to be perfect.
Hmm.
And so my understanding of healing is like we heal and okay, I'm doing better and then other stuff will come up and it's kind of like we're able to handle things, we're less triggered as we go along.
Right.
But there's always something that's going to be in there that, our ego comes up or like the deep wounds. There's other wounds come up for me recently that I thought I'd handled years ago. And it's like, oh, shit, that's still there. So
Yeah.
it's just, that's life. So when
Yeah.
people say I've healed and I know I'm the guru, it can teach you everything, and I've awakened to everything, I'm like, nah, I don't feel that that's authentic because I think that your ego is talking like you're perfect and now I get to tell everyone else what to do. That's what I see when I hear that shit.
Yeah. So for you, it's like an instant like turn off, like a deal breaker. You're like, I definitely don't want to give you my money because I wouldn't trust somebody that isn't comfortable with admitting their own work.
I I personally feel because I've had many people talk down to me and at me for years.
Hmm.
And it was always like, well, you need to do this, Stephanie, or I don't struggle with that. Or I've healed that and like I'm sorry that you deal with that now. And it's such you feel this small. And
Yeah.
so last year I was on this app where we did live talks and I'd come up, I would go up and talk and I would share like stuff. I'm like, I just experienced this today and I struggle with that. And people would share that helped them because they're like, oh, that's so relatable. Thank you for sharing that. Whereas other
Hmm.
people on there were like, I used to be like this and I don't struggle anymore. And I was like, that's not relatable. I don't like listening to you because then I feel, oh, I've not arrived like they have. And so after having years of talking to different coaches, I just, I can sense when I feel that they're being authentic or when it's like, now you want to talk down to me. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, and maybe what they're talking about in those moments is relatable to some people, especially if they're on the same wave, But like that's where you get to discern and decide, yeah, you're not the genuine person that's going to vibe with me.
Or you just, yeah, I don't know. I mean, you can heal things. I don't struggle with certain things like I used to,
Right. Like
but
it's a
I think it's,
process for sure. It's not ever just like the end, because if it was, we wouldn't even be in human form anymore. We would have already been like, oh, cool, there's nothing left to learn. Why are we here?
yeah.
Cool. I get to check out now.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
that's
I would
how I,
agree.
and I just having being in those spaces a lot, and I tend to feel like, and I know it's how I handle it, but I feel this small. And people have
Hmm.
said, Stephanie, it's because you think those people are better than you. You think that they know more than you. And that's my issue where I think I'm still less than because I that's literally been my life since I was a kid. So that's where I have to raise my vibration and know that I'm me and I know just as much as they do, or you know what I mean? Like so that's where like I do allow myself to feel small and that's something I still struggle with.
Right. Right. Well, at least you have the awareness too to like recognize that piece of the puzzle for yourself that says, here's something that triggers the way I measure my worth, and something that
Yes.
I have to work on. Yeah, for sure.
Yes.
It
Always.
well, and we all have that. Here's why I liked this topic because I got to share a little bit about this with you the other day, just very briefly. Um, and I've spoken about it on the podcast a couple times. But I have lost a child. I lost a child in 2012. And I've yet to podcast and tell that story, which I need to do. So I'm going to stick a pin in that because I do know that it's time for me to tell that story. Uh, but in regard to the linear fashion and people talking about steps and even grief having like five main cycles and all the things, I always am like, dude, throw that shit out the window. If you can throw it all away. Anything you thought you knew, you don't know shit. Like once your trauma brain takes over, none of that fucking shit matters at all. None of it. It won't make sense to you. You don't give a fuck. And that's not how it doesn't look pretty. It's not all organized and detailed. It's such a mess. And, you know, I had lost her in 2012. So this is obviously, several years ago. But even just the other day, I'm getting ready to go to Utah for my daughter's wedding, my oldest daughter's wedding. And two things came up this year that were big events this year. My youngest daughter graduated high school in May, and now my oldest daughter is getting married. And both events completely caught me off guard with my grief because I go through these years, doing the work, healing and processing the grief and allowing it the space it needs. And then a situation like that comes up and I'm getting ready to like celebrate and be in the moment. And I kid you not, just out of nowhere, I will just, I will be like, holy shit, my heart will drop. And I'd be like, there should have been another graduation. There should have been another wedding. And like the tears flood. Because always in the back of my mind, there's that record playing of her memory, her essence, because she was just as real as you and I. And so was the love that we all had for her. And and so whether it's 1 year or 13 years or 50 years, there will always be that bond and those sneak attack moments, right? That just catch you off guard. And that's what you do. You sit there and you go, I thought I've healed this. I thought I'd been working on this, and I had been. But that doesn't stop the cycle from coming because what happens is your body can only process so much trauma at once. So it's layering, unlayering, layering, unlayering, right? So you move through some of that and your body rests for a minute. And then now it's time to move through some more of that. It's just like you said, it's a never ending process. As long as we're in human form, we are never done healing and working on ourselves ever.
Yeah.
There's no, oh, I have arrived. That is not a thing.
So when people say time heals grief, heals all wounds, like when you hear that, how does that come up for you? Does that
Um, I think I think distance can heal some, right? Because it gives your 3D body time to adjust to the transmutation of the spiritual emotional stuff, right? So like you've done all this work, you're transmuting all this energy, you're alchemizing, right? You're moving through all the stuff. But your body, your 3D body, still needs time to adjust to all that. So does time heal all wounds? I mean, there's some truth to that, but no, it's not like a end all be all. It's not like, oh, it's been 20 years, so this should just be gone. Yeah, no,
right?
no, that's bullshit. That
And
might be
like you were,
something you see in a movie. Like,
yeah,
okay. Yeah. So yeah, it doesn't just erase all that stuff. No.
and like you were saying, when moments come up, milestones,
Yeah.
you're thinking of your daughter, her graduation, her wedding, like
Yeah.
that, I mean, you sharing that with me, I was like, oh yeah, because I don't have kids. I've never experienced something like that, so I can't say I understand it all, right?
Right.
But I was like, oh, right, that would come up.
Yeah, because
And
it's
you're
not
right.
just you grieving what you had, it's grieving what you'll never have. It's
Mhm.
grieving the moments you'll never get to see or witness or be a part of with that child. And so yeah, big it's a big thing and it takes up a lot of space.
I don't know if we talk about that enough, the grieving what we because we don't think about that a lot.
Hmm.
Grieving what we've lost or what we didn't have, even
Hmm.
that. Like I was on a podcast and this woman, we were talking about being single in our 40s. And she said she always wanted kids. And when she realized that she was not going to be having children, she had to grieve that part of it. And her sister was like, why are you grieving? What, blah, blah, blah. because what you wanted, what you thought you were going to have, you have to say goodbye to that
Yeah.
old part
You,
of you to
yeah.
move forward. And so people don't really understand that.
Yeah.
And I had to grieve that too. I thought I was going to be married with kids in my 20s, and I'm now 46. And I was like, I had to grieve that kind of
Yeah.
more in my 30s. And now I'm like, cool. I'm good with whatever happens, right? If I get married, fine. If I don't, fine, whatever.
Right.
But I had to grieve that part of it.
Yeah.
And we don't really think about that all the time.
Right. Because there are these like, uh, there's expectations, whether you put it on yourself or others put it on you or the society in a whole, right? There's all these expectations, right? So looking at all those pieces of what we thought could have been or what we had envisioned for ourselves or others envisioned for us and it's imprinted on us, whatever, then yeah, you still have to make acceptance with those pieces and grieve them too. Yeah, it's definitely part of the journey. Single in your 40s. That is a great fucking topic, by the
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
Especially where I was like, how does healing period play into the dating life? So it's interesting that you did a podcast like that. But yeah, you're right. There are pieces that, people have to and I feel sad. I feel sad when I hear how you said her sister was like, why are you even grieving? So that was part of my grieving process too, right? Was learning how to that time is healing is also because time is giving you the ability to build confidence, right? To rebuild yourself, rebuild your strength, rebuild your confidence, and rebuild your world, your tribe, everything. And so part of my grief journey wasn't just, oh, I lost my daughter. That was fucking heavy enough. But I lost everyone because I saw the nastiest side of people while I was grieving. The nastiest. You would think, right? That, oh, this is someone that is hurting. Let's come together as a family and as a community and support this person and lift them up. And that is not what happens. It is not what happened. I actually had everybody turn their back on me because I was too much or I was too sad or it was too dramatic what I was going through, whatever their reason was, right? And so I had family members literally say to me, it's been a year, get over it. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. 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 So part of that grieving journey was also turning my back on those I'm going to say mutter fakers, um, that they were little snakes in my tribe, right? That really were just so uncomfortable with my process that they couldn't do anything but be hateful. And so I had to release them too. Yeah. So it's unfortunate, how much little compassion there that is shown sometimes for somebody that's going through the worst moments in their life.
And how they don't understand.
Yeah.
I remember when I was younger, I thought, because I grew up Christian, and so in the Bible it says you will leave your parents and cleave to your spouse or something. And so I literally thought that when you're older and you're married, you don't really care as much about your parents. So when people, I know this sounds so terrible. So when people's parents would pass away, I'd think, well, but you're married, so it shouldn't matter. That's how I kind of took those verses.
Yeah,
And
but
so when I had a coworker whose father passed away and I saw the devastation, like I was in my 20s at this point,
yeah,
and I was like, "Oh, you really do care about your parents." I know that doesn't make sense to people, but my little kid brain, they talk so much about leaving your parents, and when you got married it was such a big deal.
yeah,
Um that I guess I took it literally that you don't really care about your parents so much. So, um so I didn't understand why people were as devastated. But then when I realized losing my own parents, and I haven't yet, but how
yeah,
devastating that will be, I'm like,
yeah,
oh,
yeah.
that, yeah.
Well, and that's why it's really hard sometimes, um, when you're going through those moments, because some people show this nasty side to you, but it's not even just because they are nasty. It's because they really don't fucking have a clue, right? Like just in those moments, even you didn't have a clue, right? You had no idea. And it wasn't your fault, right? It was just lack of experience, whatever, right? Lack of living. And so those people genuinely don't know what to do. And what they do know is that your situation has made them so fucking uncomfortable that they don't know how to be with that. And you're the cause of that as far as they're concerned. So they just lash out.
Mhm.
I don't like your situation. It makes me so uncomfortable that I have to treat you like shit and keep you away from me. That's the only thing they know to do.
And I know
So,
people have talked about when they're grieving, they don't, their friends don't want to be around because people,
yeah,
like you're saying, people are, they don't know what to do or say.
yeah,
Like they're afraid of saying the wrong thing. They're afraid of
yeah,
doing the wrong thing. They're afraid of bringing up the person's name or
yeah.
stories, even
And we're
though
not. We're like, please
that's
bring them
very
up.
important.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we want to fucking talk about them. They were important to us. Like they, our kids, our dads, our moms, our sisters, our but all of, there we want to talk about it. We're not trying to hold this shit and kill ourselves more,
Mhm.
like so yeah, you're right. Sometimes that comes up too. Like we don't know what to say. Well, don't say it's been a year, get over it, you fucking idiots. Don't say that.
I,
Do
I talked
not
with a
do that.
I talked with a woman who had actually she was a widow twice. She had two husbands pass away.
Ugh,
And she wrote a book about healing through grief. And she was sharing that, yeah, we want to talk about them. We
yeah.
want to share those stories. That's important. But there is this fear with people, right? You're like, oh no, I can't say their name. And so that really helped me realize that I don't need to be afraid with sitting with somebody in grief because
Mhm.
I was always scared. I'm like, oh my God, what if I say something wrong? Um, and so I think here talking more about that with people, hearing experiences of people who are going through grief. Um, if you want to learn, you can. There's so many podcasts and books and all these things out there of what people are looking for when they're grieving.
Yeah, I would agree. And also, it never hurts to just ask. Like,
Mhm.
use your fucking words. Seriously, we're adults. Like, use your words. You can ask the person, what do you need from me? What do you not need from me? Like it's not hard. Sometimes
Yeah.
they won't even know what they need. Maybe they just need you to sit there with them, and that's okay too. Yeah, crazy stuff. So let's shift gears a little bit.
Okay.
So, um, what would you say? Oh, where do I want to go with this? Okay. If you had a healing superpower, what do you think it would be? What is your like biggest healing superpower that you think you have?
To help help heal others.
No, maybe either way. I guess there's no wrong answer. Like heal others, heal yourself. Like, do you have like yeah, I guess just like a healing superpower that like um helps you advocate for others or yourself.
I would say empathy
That's a good one.
because it just and I know for some people that's like a nasty word. I've heard them make fun of empathy and I'm like, why? Um, but because when you're safe, that's healing. When
Yeah.
you're somebody that people can come and talk to and there's no judgment, you can cry in front of them, you can sit in silence, they can say anything and you don't start talking at them or saying, you need to do this, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
That's healing.
Yeah.
And we can practice
Yeah.
learn like practice empathy, not everybody, some people have it more than others, maybe in like our personalities, whatever. But I always, with how I felt around other people, I was like, I don't like this feeling. I don't want to be like this to others. So I was constantly learning, how can I not do that? If that
Yeah.
makes sense. So, we're learning all the time about how we can be more gentle, more kind, more compassionate, more loving, and have empathy. And I'm so much more comfortable in silence and tears now than I ever used to be. It was always like,
Oh God, me
I don't
too.
like you feeling that way. You can't cry because like you were saying, I'm uncomfortable.
Right.
But whenever I cried, and I know people were uncomfortable and they would try to make it better, it made it worse.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
wanted me to talk about it, like at work, right? They're like, "Why are you crying?" I always cried at work. And the more I tried to talk about it, the worse it would get because I
Yeah.
would just like, I can't, I'm
Yeah.
crying more. And I would just say, just like, thank you, but like, go away.
Yeah. Like, give
Because
me a
then,
minute.
yeah, and it was fine. Try to make people talk when they're crying, not helpful unless they really want to.
Hmm.
So, anyways, I just think like empathy is so important that people feel safe. And when we feel safe, that's so healing.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's true. I think safe, like whether it's safe space, safe environment, just just the safety to be witnessed or heard, seen. Yeah. Because that's the fastest way to like regulate your body, your nervous system.
Yes.
And then once that happens, your fight or flight's not like freaking out. And then your higher wisdom can kind of like move through you easier.
And you
Yeah.
don't feel like you have to, because with certain people, you feel like you have to justify. And I still do this at times. I have friends who are like, Stephanie, you don't have to justify anything. You don't have to over explain. I'm like, oh, right. Because that's my go to is like, I have to over explain so you
Yeah.
understand me.
Yeah.
But when you have somebody who's just like, okay,
Yeah.
and you don't have to do all that extra stuff, it's like, oh,
I'm actually still I still catch myself over explaining a lot.
yes,
I
me
still
too.
do I
Oh
still
my
do that one
gosh.
too, where I will catch myself over explaining and I'll be like, why am I doing this? Like a
And it
no
makes
is
it worse at times too, because then
like no is a
people will
complete
start,
sentence or something. And why do I have to say no? Because I can just say no. That is the
yeah,
answer. No. Not because of this or that. I don't give a fuck. Like, so sometimes I have to catch myself too.
because people will have more to then come back at you. Like when I start saying stuff, and then people are like, well, Stephanie, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, no, blah, 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 blah. And then we're getting into this thing. And I was like,
Yeah.
wait, why did I give them so much information when, because now it's escalated and I'm having to justify everything. Oh, I didn't have to say any of that. But, it takes the work and like it's still going through that.
Yeah. That's so funny.
What about
You're
you?
so funny.
What would be your superpower?
Uh,
Were you only just going to ask me that?
well, I hadn't really thought about. Well, actually,
Oh,
it's probably something very similar um because I'm um so empathy, yes, but I also have the ability to like really tap in and read people.
mm,
And so I think that that is almost like it's definitely like a secret superpower, I guess, because it's like, oh, here, let me find your bullseye. Let me like wade through all the shit and let me nail the target. Oh, okay, I see what needs to be brought up here. And so it's usually I just like go straight to that and then kind of help bring that to the surface with, you know, um, with with their own process in mind, of course, right? So it's like, cool, I see what has to happen here. And so I think that that's probably when I guess that's what works when I'm in service with others, which does tie into empathy because for empathy, everybody experiences empathy different, but I can quite literally sit next to someone that has a broken leg and my leg will start hurting. And that's how I know what's hurting. So it works the same with their emotions or even like with other spiritual aspects or mental wellness, whatever it is, right? So it's I've actually sat next to someone that was drunk and I started feeling drunk. And so like even stuff like that, like if I'm with someone that's, intoxicated or not sober in their mind or body, like I can feel that in my energy space, right? So that's a superpower when I'm trying to be of service to others. Not so much when I'm trying to drive and I'm feeling woozy because someone sitting next to me is drunk. Like that's not great. So that, you know what I mean? Like I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't call that a superpower in that moment. But it does help me it does help me be of service to them. And it does help me to ground out and transmute some of that energy for them through my body in a weird way. I don't know how else to explain that. Um, as far as like healing superpower for myself, um, I would say it's like, I would say it's my awareness. Like I have such a great awareness and an inner authority, and that definitely does me a big favor. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Um, do you want to talk about healing and dating?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you think? Oh, actually, I have another question first. When was a moment that you chose courage over comfort? This doesn't have to be about dating. It can be about whatever, right? Courage over comfort.
Oh, that's hard.
Do you want me to answer
Um,
first?
sure, because I have to think about that.
Okay, you think about it. I one of the things that came to, well, first of all, I feel like we have to choose courage over comfort a lot. Almost
Hmm.
daily, that's a practice, right? Um, two of the things that came to mind, obviously when my daughter died, I had to choose courage a lot just to even get out of bed. Because the fuck if I wanted to do that. I honestly, without sharing too much about the story, I had to put myself in a safer place when that happened so I wouldn't kill myself. And that took a lot of courage um, because I knew that I had other kids and I knew that I was in a place where I would hurt myself. And so I had to make sure that I didn't do that. And so that took a lot of courage to make a decision like that. And then another thing that came to mind was I had to be homeless for a while. For a while, when I say a while, it was like off and on for like a stretch of like, I don't know, like 8 years or something like that. It was a while. Um, and a lot of that was happening after I lost my daughter. So I was grieving and homeless and still trying to stay sober. Um, so because I'd been sober since then too. So it was a nightmare. But one of the things that I ran into with courage over comfort was there were people I could stay with and were like, I'll open my home to you. But then I'd get there and they'd have these expectations of like, well, now that you're here, maybe you can be my girlfriend or do these things and do these favors. So I chose homelessness over that.
Wow.
And that took a lot. It took a lot to do that, right? Because I actually did choose to stay homeless over men trying to force me to be whatever they wanted me to be, over staying with people and family members, even that did drugs because I was sober. So I chose homelessness because the other alternative was stay with people that were doing drugs, and I couldn't do that. So
Wow.
there was a lot of times that I had to continue to be courage led, I guess, after she died, when all I wanted to do was die. And I just kept having to do these hard things in the hardest time of my life already. And that took, yeah, I'm not even going to say that took courage. It took something, but courage, I feel like, doesn't even compare to what that was like.
Wow.
Crazy shit.
That wow. How do I even follow that? Because I don't,
It's not a competition, girl.
I know, but like, what? Um, well, I
Next
mean,
time I'm
there's,
gonna let you go first then. I'm gonna be like, you do it first.
I feel like I've always been, because ever since at least I was a teenager or even a kid, even though everything was terrifying to me, I always knew you had to get out of your comfort zone.
Mhm.
So I would do courage because I wanted to always improve. Um, I remember when I was like 25-ish, I was asked to speak at my church because they were doing a series on mentoring. And one of my friends had told the pastor, well, Stephanie's being mentored. So what you should ask her to speak on her experience. And it was just like a 5-minute thing, but we had 3 different church services. And my initial reaction was like, hell no, I hate public speaking. I'm terrified. I can't get up and do that. But I just was like, well, Stephanie, you've been asked. Why not? Right. And I felt so sick. But then as soon as I did it, it was fun. I actually like speaking.
Yeah. And look at you now.
Yeah. But and all those little steps I took,
Yeah.
because as a kid, I hated getting up in front of a class every time we had speech. I hated people looking at me. Um, so just things like that. Or when I left, I was working at a bank for 14 years and I left it. Now I had to, I was having like health challenges, but people were like, are you crazy? You're leaving this, job at a bank that you're already in and we have pension and benefits. Why are you leaving it? And I was like, I don't know. Now I moved back in with my parents. So I had a safety net. So
Yeah.
for those people who don't have that, that is like a hell of a lot of courage. Um, but I was stepping into an unknown.
Mhm.
I don't know what I'm gonna do. And
Which
I was
still takes
afraid.
courage, whether you had a safety net or not. That's still like definitely don't minimize your courage because that is a big thing to do, whether you had support or not.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just doing things along the way. And yeah, so I think it's just all these different things where I was like, okay, it's scary. My nervous system is going like, ah, but I'm learning that difference between something that's fear because it's a it's a new thing I'm stepping into, which is scary, but a good scary
Hmm.
versus something that's like there's that other fear that's like, no, that's not for you, like it's out of alignment. And I never really knew the difference. It takes practice to kind of know,
Yeah.
but it was more an exciting scary. So when I know that excitement scary, I'm like, oh yeah, I'll do that thing, even though, oh my God, what am I doing? Um,
So
because it's
I
yeah.
was gonna say I'm gonna piggyback off of that because I feel like that brings up a really great topic. The difference between intuition and fear. Like how do you know the difference, right? And you're kind of
Oh my God,
explaining
yes.
like how you get to decide what that feels like in your body. So like that's another great thing to bring up.
And if you've lived with anxiety your whole life and
Oh
people are
yeah.
like anxiety and depression and whatever, and they're like, listen to your body. I've talked about this with many people.
And
You
you've got
don't know how
crippling
to
anxiety. Well, okay, that's a great idea.
you don't know how to listen to your body until you know how until your nervous system is calm and until you're in
Right,
this healing space where now I can listen to my body. Now I
right.
know what my body is saying,
Yeah.
even though I'm still practicing, because sometimes I'm like, am I sure? But when I was told that way back when I didn't know, I
Hmm.
was taught my body was evil because I
Yeah.
grew up
Yeah, no,
Christian.
I've heard that too. Like I've heard that too. And
And so it
also,
was like, you can't just do that.
yeah, you
People are like,
can't.
just listen to your body.
Yeah.
Okay, wait a minute. For me, it means like, wait, I have
Well,
to
and if
learn
you're an
how.
empath, you're actually listening to other people's bodies. So you still don't even
Yes,
know what's yours.
yes. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, you could walk into, well, I'm not an empath, I'm an HSP, but we have that similar.
Yeah.
And I used to be like, oh, I'm in a good mood, I'm fine. And then you walk into a room or people come into the room or whatever, and all of a sudden you're just like, ugh.
Yeah.
And people would go, what's wrong with you? I don't know. You were in such a good mood. And then when I learned about being HSP empath,
Hmm.
oh my God, that's what that was.
Right. So that's why it's like it's hard to just listen to your body. Like it's just some one and done simple thing to do if you're an empath, if you're an HSP, if you're a psychic medium, if you're like any of those
Yeah.
things, like if you have anxiety, if you have, you know what, one thing that taught me, and I'm being so serious. One thing that helped me learn how to listen to my body, and I hate fucking admitting this, is so I have mast cell activation syndrome and massive food allergy issues, right? So that's a whole nother story that's ruined my life. But having to figure out what my body was physically responding to when it came to foods and stuff, I kid you not, that actually did help me learn how to listen to my body in
Wow.
so many ways. Like it was such a huge eye opener, even emotionally and spiritually. Yeah, crazy that that would be the thing. But
Yeah.
it actually did. Yeah, it actually was a catalyst to a lot of that crazy stuff. Okay. My question about dating, what would you say your biggest healing flex in dating has been?
Oh, communication.
Oh,
I
yes.
love communication is sexy.
Oh,
Like,
it's so sexy.
holy shit. Growing up, we didn't see much healthy communication. And I just
Right.
thought, oh my God, the man's the head of the household. And
Yeah.
as females, we had to be just do whatever.
Yeah, because there's um, I'm going to say the toxic gender roles that are handed out that way.
Yes, and we were always wrong. It was like, well, women are just feelings and men are logical. So I
Yeah.
got that growing up. And so learning communication and how to figure out my own huge insecurities. And so
Yeah.
over the years, like men, um, like I got in toxic relationships because I was so insecure. I didn't believe I even deserved a guy to love me.
Right.
And over time, it's like, as I've started to heal and I have these disagreements or miscommunications and I have guys who just will stick it out and say they know they're like something's bothering you. What is it? Like you're blah blah blah. And I have this tendency to hide, like run away.
Yeah.
And this one guy, he's like um he's very gentle with me, but he's helped me heal along because
Yeah.
he can recognize that and he goes, you're running away again. And I'm like, oh my God. He goes, we can talk this out. He helps me feel
Aw.
safe.
Oh, I love that.
And I say to him, you help me heal. Because when you have that, because I used to be so scared communicating, things were always pushed back on me and it was always my fault.
Yeah.
And so when somebody doesn't do that to you, when they can recognize, we
That
can
you're,
talk this out and you're struggling and he knew. And so now we're able to talk things out and it's wonderful. So I was like,
yeah.
healthy communication is amazing.
Yeah. Oh my God. It makes all the
Right?
difference in the world. And I would agree that communication is super attractive.
Yes.
Super attractive. Someone that's showing up and doing the inner work and, leading with that kind of safety, that's when women are like, oh, it's so easy to be feminine and fall into my softness with you because this is attractive. This is what women need. This is what women want. Yeah.
And recognizing that we're allowed to say what we want as women. I watching the movies and TV shows as kids where the women would say, "No, don't get me a present for Valentine's Day." And then they're mad when the guy doesn't get them a present for Valentine's Day.
Nothing like good old fashioned manipulation.
And I used to think, is that what women are supposed to do? Because they're telling us that that's what women are like, but men
Right.
hate this. And I was like, this is stupid. Why? But I thought, well, I guess women are like this because I was told women are like this. But I was like, why don't we just say what we need and want?
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? And that's where this gender
Yeah.
fight, then men are like, women don't tell us, blah, blah. I'm like, oh my God, if we can just get to this place where we're both communicating healthy, we feel safe to communicate healthy.
Yeah.
Wow, we'll have these amazing relationships.
Oh my God, what a concept. Holy
Yes.
shit. Yeah, for sure.
Let's
Yeah.
just heal, guys. Let's heal. We'll have a happier world.
Yeah, I love that. Let's do that. I feel like that's really all I had. Is there anything that you wanted to add to this?
To the dating?
Yeah, I really didn't have a whole lot. I mean, I have lots that I can talk about, but I didn't have anything like that came up that like stood out other than that.
Hmm.
I think I was
I
just
think
kind
one
of
one
like,
thing that's really fun in dating is just being able to talk about anything.
for
And
sure.
I love deep
But you
conversations.
don't
Like
even
I've
have
been
to
on
be
the
dating for that. You can just be
no.
have a great, you can have great community, but you're right, finding somebody that you actually enjoy spending time with and can be open and vulnerable with is pretty awesome.
Yes. And I've been on dating apps. Oh my gosh. It would be it's and I get it. You're not going to delve into the deep stuff right away, right? When you're like just hello, how are you? But I hate the hello, how are you? And it was just back and forth and I'm like,
Oh God.
I
I'm
don't know
like,
what to say anymore. This is
I'm feeling
stupid.
guilty and called out then because you're like, you
Oh,
don't dive into the deep stuff. And I'm like, actually, that's the first thing I do. I'm like,
okay, well, I should
that's
date you then because I love that. But well, people say you don't get into the tough stuff at first. But I'm like, but I'm tired of this. Hi, how are you?
yeah,
What do
yeah.
you like? I was like bored with these
We're like
conversations.
lame, surface level. How's the weather? Who gives a fuck? Look outside if you want to know. Let's talk about if you love your mother. Let's talk about how you treat her. Let's talk about are you scared of anything? Like I'm like, who
Oh, it's
cares if there's a
funny.
tornado outside?
That's the dating stories of people. There's always like they would ask a question that the person was not used to, or they would give an answer that was like, oh, that stuck out to me, and then they started dating, right? So I feel
Yeah.
like that's the way to go.
I haven't had a lot of experience in the dating world until recently. And I wouldn't say it's a lot of experience. That's not true. That's not how I meant it. I meant like, so I had been single for 11 years. And I think the first couple years of that, I was casually sort of dating and wrapped up in a very narcissistic, nasty situation. Um, but nothing like an actual real committed relationship, not in 11 years. And then the last 6 years of that, I was practicing celibacy. So I was on a long healing journey, doing all the things. And at the end of that sixth year, that would have been the end of 2023 was when I very first started to like, okay, I'm gonna actually toy with the idea of trying to put myself out there. And I did sort of date somebody for a few months, which did not work out very well. And then I dated another person um, for a couple months, also did not work out very well. But I am currently dating someone now and love the guy to death. He's really great. If he listens to this, he'll know I'm talking about him. But I also met him on a dating app. And so here's the thing. I don't like dating apps. I am not a fan because it feels so judgy to me. Like everybody's just looking at physical attributes
Yeah.
and there's so much more to a person than that. And I'm like, this feels so fucking shallow, but whatever, right? So what I ended up doing was Facebook dating because you could actually just make friends on there. There didn't have to be the pressure of dating. You could actually just
Mhm.
connect with other people. And
Yeah.
so I tried it that way. I didn't stay on there for very long, maybe 3 or 4 days at most, because I actually got very overwhelmed um, with all that and had to shut it down. But I did meet him on there, and um, like I said, having a great experience with him. But I would say that one thing that I know I do is dive straight into the heavy stuff. I do. I don't waste time because I'm like 46 years old. I'm fucking pushing my grave right now, right? Like I'm like almost 50. I'm almost 50, right? So I'm like, dude, either we're doing this thing or we're not, right? So I get into the heavy stuff right away because like I value my time, I value yours. Let's get the fucking hard shit out of the way. Like let's see if we check each other's boxes in all the most like pertinent ways, right? So are you an addict? What are your triggers? What are your addictions? What are if there are any, right? Because I won't date somebody that isn't sober. Um, so that's one of the huge things for me right away. You have to be completely sober. And I mean very sober. Like no smoking, no drinking, no drugs, not just that, no marijuana, no none of that. Like I like to see people actually taking care of themselves um in a way that vibrates uh in the place that I do, right? That it's a little more familiar with matched up with what I'm doing, right? That also means no gambling, no pornography, no like all the things that I would show up for, all the things that I'm practicing for, I demand. Like I demand to see my match in all those things. If I'm doing the heavy work here, you better come prepared. So those are the questions that I am like, I'm digging right away. Cool. Can we make something work? Are you doing this heavy work? Are you doing this work just like I'm doing? Because if you're not, cool. Nice talking to you. Move on. Right.
Yeah.
So yeah. So as far as like casual conversations, I'm not good at that. Yeah, I'm not good at that either.
I'm not either.
Yeah, the
I would,
little pleasantries, I'm like,
yeah.
please save me, spare me from all this. Like, I don't want to hear the pleasantries. Like, just,
I always said I'm so much better just meeting me in person.
yeah.
I don't photograph well. I'm like chubbier than what I always thought men would want. So when they would, the swiping thing, I was like, oh, they're gonna pass by my picture. But it's like for job interviews. I might not look so great in paper on paper because I don't have this or this what they're looking for. I'm like, you gotta meet me though, because I'm super fun. And I can talk about so many things, but that's where it's you're like you're saying, it is shallow and you're not getting
Yeah,
the essence of the person.
you're not.
So
That's why I
I
don't love
found
it.
dating on apps really hard. I
Yeah.
met a few people and then it was like, I hate this. I think after a month I would try it and then get off. And then years later, I tried another one for a month and I was like, I can't stand this. How do
Hmm.
people stay on this thing for years? I don't
Yeah.
know.
I couldn't even do it more than like 3 days. I'd only used the app, the Facebook dating, a couple times since the very end of 2023. And I was never on there more than like, I think 4 or 5 days at most at one stretch. And it was, and I was actually dating a couple times. So I wasn't on the app anyway. But I couldn't. I was just like, this just feels so fucking stupid. Like, I don't get to know these people by looking at their face or you don't get to hear their vibrations in their voice, the tones, the gestures, like there's so much about a person that we're missing out on, and so it's unfortunate, but
Yeah.
it is also sometimes the only way to connect with people when you work so much and you're busy, and like when else are you gonna connect? And I don't just go out there with, people don't like just hit you up in public anymore either. That's not a thing anymore. So not so much.
Yeah. I've heard
Yeah.
people come, like, especially men, they're, they have, I've heard them say, like, what are we supposed to do? And I get it that there's a confusion, what they're taught, and now what women are like, women have always been uncomfortable with. But it's like, just treat us like human beings. You can start a conversation. But
Yeah.
if you start like picking up women, it's like, dude, right? But and so I think if we just look at each other as human beings and just talk to each other like humans,
Yeah.
it instead of like, oh, there's a guy, there's a woman, like it's, do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think that's what's missing in a lot of these, like,
Because it's just not done with the proper etiquette. Like
right,
it's not,
uncomfortable.
people aren't being approached with respect or decency. I rarely get approached in public ever, but recently, I would say this happened about two months ago. I actually had a situation where I was in a public place and I was in my PJs, just kind of minding my own business because I wear my PJs everywhere because why the fuck would I want to wear real clothes? And so I walking by this guy and he looked at me and he goes, "Girl, you fine as fuck." And I was like, I was so caught off guard for one, because no one ever approaches, like it's just not something that I ever have to deal with. Um, and I was clearly super uninterested. And do people actually think that's flattering? So I was like, thanks, thank you. And I kept walking. Like, so my back is fully turned to this man, full on my back. Like, and I'm walking away as fast as possible. And I'm clearly not interested. And he goes, "Hey, you married?" And I was like, "Yes, yes, I am. Thank you so much. Have a great day." And I'm totally lying because I'm not married, but like, you know what I mean? I was like, "Yes, I am. Thank you so much. Have a great day." And I just walked off. I'm like, "Dude, my back is turned to you. And you're still fucking trying to like, clearly I'm not interested. How much more clearer could I get?" So then I was like, "Yes, I'm married." Let me run away now.
Oh my gosh. Do you know, I used to be like I was not good knowing what to do. I grew up like very religious. We grew up in Puritan culture. We grew up like being taught that it had to be courtship. So
Oh,
the
yeah.
person you dated, you basically married. And I was terrified of guys. Didn't date till my 30s. Um, but anyways, so I was working at a bank, and I was working at the branch as a teller, and there was these guys from, I think, the country, Georgia, the country, not the state. And there was a few of them, and the one guy goes, "Hey, my friend really likes you. Can he get your number?" And I didn't know what to do in that time, but I would give my real number, and I know, don't do that, but I did know what to do.
Wait, how long ago was this? Because I gave out my real number. Like back in the day, that was a safe thing to do, as far as I knew. So,
2010.
oh, I mean, I guess I would have given out my real number too.
But then I went out with some friends, and we were just hanging out, watching movies and whatever. And he kept calling and he kept calling. And then he left me a voicemail and goes, "Why are you not answering?" And I was
Oh,
like, I texted him back. I'm like, "I'm busy. Don't call me anymore." Like that freaked me out.
yeah.
Um,
That's a little
so
cray cray, a little cray cray vibes.
I was just like, I should not give out my real number. And I did have situations in Toronto where I would get like men would just say, "Oh, look at you," or like I had an old man like start talking to me on the subway, and he put his hand on my knee, and then he was like, "Give me your number." I was like, that's when I started to say, "Oh, give me your number." So I would
Or
pretend
write
to
a
like write
fake
their number in my
number.
phone number.
Yeah.
um, but it was very uncomfortable. But as
Well, and
we
him
were
putting
not
his
taught what
hands
to
on you
do.
at all is an
I know.
absolute deal breaker. Like, whoa, you're crossing a line, dude.
And like, they'll put your hair behind your
Oh,
ear. I had a few guys do that to me. I didn't know what to do. And that's why we have to teach women, teach
ugh,
girls, you know, you,
so
don't
gross.
let a man touch you. You can say no. And I didn't
Yeah.
know that I could do that.
But yeah, there's
So,
times like even in my life when I was younger, um, grown men when I was 15,
no.
yeah, approaching me, and I was too young to know that I could say no also. And so that was an unfortunate part of my life that I had to deal with too. So I get that. And on top of
Yeah.
that, you're afraid that if you do say no, you're going to get in trouble or there's going to be some sort of
You're going to be called a
retaliation.
bitch.
Yeah, or yeah, there's
I
going to
have
be
to be nice,
something.
nice
Yeah.
Christian girl.
Well, and in my mind, this is one of my mom's friends and they do drug business. So like I don't want to rock the boat because then it comes back on, so like that's a huge burden for a fucking child to have.
Oh,
Yeah, that's fun. One of the things I've noticed too with dating that I want to bring up real quick is um something that I used to tolerate that I would definitely not tolerate now and is actually an ick for me is, I live in the South. So everything's like darling, sweetheart, like, hey, cutie, hey, baby, hey, beautiful, whatever it is, right? Like whatever pet name somebody wants to. And so even on the dating apps, instead of, approaching me with what I feel like would be more respectful is like, hey, April, or how's your day going, or whatever. It was, hey, beautiful, hey, gorgeous, hey, sweetheart. And I'm like, dude, shut the fuck up. I have a fucking name. Do you not see it on the profile? Like, so for me, like pet names are super cute when you're already in a relationship. If you're already seeing each other and you've established that dynamic, sure, call me baby, call me cupcake, call me sprinkles. I don't give a fuck what you call me. But if I don't even know you and you can't even address me by my name, I promise you will never make it past that message ever. Like, show people some decency, like women don't just
Like
love hear.
humans.
Yeah, like women don't just love hearing that. And if they do, yeah, I don't know what to say about that.
Well, actually, I can speak to that because
Hmm.
when I was thinking that I'm not pretty enough, I'm not worthy enough, if a man called me, if they called me anything like that,
Hmm.
I would be like, oh, I'm worthy.
Yep. Yeah, and that's what I'm
I'm
saying.
pretty enough that they think I am pretty, or they're just using a line, whatever.
Yeah,
But now, me now, who knows I'm worthy all on my own,
yeah,
I do get that ick. But back
yeah.
then I thought, wow,
Well, and
I'm
that's the
really
thing
getting
is I
men to
think,
love me or like
yeah,
think I'm pretty.
it's like, oh, cool, the admiration. Maybe some women do need that, and maybe whatever. I don't have good things to say about that, to be honest, but I really don't.
But you're
But
right. It comes
like,
back to treating each other like human.
yeah, and I think some guys are like, oh, it's giving compliments. No, it's not. It's not giving a compliment. You don't even know that they want to hear that from you. You haven't even established that yet. And you're already bombarding them with these little phrases that you think are so, you know, cute and oh, this is going to do it. No, it doesn't, dude. I hate to break it to you. You just
Yeah,
fucked yourself up. you just you
exactly.
just screwed yourself out of a good shot, but whatever. Yeah. And
Uh,
I think a lot of times too, people um I might come across as a bitch because I'm like, say my name, right? Don't call me beautiful. Don't call me sweetheart or whatever. That's so gross, right? But it is what it is. Like I don't think it's appropriate to do those things unless you're already like in a relationship. Yeah.
yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. But in Texas, there's some of that Southern programming. So it's like, hey, honey, hey, darling, fuck up with all this Southern shit. Like I
And what is
don't.
it the women say? Oh, the bless your heart. Do the
Bless you.
women
Oh
say that?
God. Basically, if a woman tells you bless your heart in Texas, she just told you to fuck off. She was like, bless your heart. She just told you to get bent. Like, she, I'm not even kidding a little bit. Oh, bless your heart. She basically just flipped you off. Yeah, it's terrible.
Oh man,
Yeah, so
so
funny.
funny.
Do you have anything you want to
Oh,
add?
Jinx. Um, well, there's so much we could add, but yeah, I think for anything, man, if we can just continue to work on ourselves, continue the work of growth, being open, learning, practicing, doing the inner work.
Yeah,
Um, this is how we get to better places. This is how we get to better relationships. And it's super exciting to know that we can do these things.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I love that. Because
I
when
agree.
I thought I didn't have like I was always praying, waiting for Jesus to fix me. I didn't know I had autonomy. I didn't know I could do anything myself.
Right.
So when I was given that, Stephanie, you have power. You can
Yeah, you're
do.
giving all your power away.
I was like, what? Wow, this is so cool.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
um, yeah. So it's exciting. So if, for but that's why I say there's so much hope out there because no matter what we're going through, and yes, it might be the hardest shit we're ever going through or there's hope out there.
yeah,
We can move forward and we don't have to stay stuck in something. So
yeah,
I just love that message because it helped me having that hope, encouraged me to keep moving forward. So
yeah, for sure. Stephanie, thank you so much. It's always a pleasure to get and sit and bullshit with you. And also, just for the listeners, I'm positive Stephanie will be back on again. Stephanie and I have been cultivating a nice little friendship, so I know she'll be back. So I am gonna go ahead and stop it here. Do you want to help me say goodbye to everybody?
bye.
Bye. See you
Thank
guys next
you.
time. Thank you for joining Own Your Essence. I am beyond grateful to our guests for sharing their wisdom and to you, our listeners, for being part of this journey toward healing and empowerment. If today's conversation resonated with you, please feel free to subscribe, leave a review, and share this space with others who might need it. If you have questions, topic ideas, want to be a guest, or would like to work with me privately, send an email. I'd love to hear from you.